My beloved child, let us delve deeper into the healing power of grieving, a sacred process of releasing the pain of the past and embracing the wholeness of the present. Grieving is not merely an emotional outburst. It is a fundamental tool for dissolving the intense feelings that arise during emotional flashbacks, those overwhelming moments when the past intrudes upon the present, leaving you feeling lost, scared, and alone. It's also crucial for dissolving the many losses caused from growing up in a traumatic family. You see, my child, the wounds of your childhood, the losses you have endured are like buried treasures, hidden beneath layers of pain, fear, and shame. These treasures are not jewels or gold, but rather the lost parts of yourself. Your self-compassion, your self-esteem, your capacity for self-protection, your ability to express yourself freely. These were all suppressed to survive your childhood. Grieving is the key to unearthing these treasures, to bringing them back to life, to restoring you to the wholeness that is your birthright. We grieve the losses of childhood, my child, because they are like deaths of essential parts of ourselves. Effective grieving can resurrect these parts. This section will show you 4 ways to grieve that have healing properties: angering, crying, verbal ventilation, and feeling. If you find yourself unable to cry or anger, or find that it does not help you, or even makes you feel worse, then you may need to focus more, at this time in your recovery, on shrinking your inner critic. Think of grieving as a way to expand insight and understanding. Insight, my child, is essential, but it is never enough to achieve deeper recovery. No matter how much you wish to heal or how many aha moments you may have, it must be combined with learning how to love yourself during flashbacks. When you feel scared, sad, angry, or hurt, it is essential to respond to yourself with kindness. Grieving is a balm for the soul, my child. It soothes the ache of abandonment, the deep sense of loss and loneliness that lies at the heart of most emotional flashbacks. This ache often feels like a death, and in many ways it is. It is the death of your sense of safety, of your belief in your own worthiness, of your ability to trust and connect with others. Grieving helps you to metabolize the most painful of the abandonment feelings, the ones that cause suicidal ideation, active suicidal ideation at their worst. Grieving also helps you to come out of the many death-like states caused by childhood trauma, my child. The key childhood losses discussed in this message are, in fact, all of the significant developmental arrests you suffered. Most important among these is the stunting of your self-compassion, self-esteem, self-protection, and self-expression. Grieving is like tending a sacred garden, my child. It is the process of watering the parched earth of your soul, of pulling out the weeds of resentment and bitterness, of planting the seeds of self-compassion and self-acceptance. As you grieve, you create space for new growth, for the blossoming of your true self. Let us consider the losses that need to be grieved, my child. You must grieve the unmet needs of your early attachment, the safety and belonging that were so scarce or even absent in your family. You must grieve the countless heartbreaks, the repeated attempts to win your parents' approval and affection, only to be met with disappointment, rejection, or even abuse. As your capacity to grieve grows, my child, you will typically discover much unreleased sadness, stemming from the lack of nurturing you needed to develop and thrive. It is here I list some of the crucial types of parental nurturance all children need to thrive. Discovering and identifying these unmet needs can help you grieve your unreleased pain. Moreover, identifying them can guide you to reparent yourself and to interact more lovingly with yourself. Imagine a child, my child, yearning for words of love, for genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings. This is the need for verbal nurturance. A parent who delights in engaging in multifaceted conversation, who offers generous amounts of praise and positive feedback, who is willing to answer all the child's questions, who teaches, reads stories, and consistently provides the resources for the child's verbal development. Imagine a child, my child, seeking to be seen for their inherent worth, their innate goodness, their natural capacity for love. This is the need for spiritual nurturance. A parent who sees and responds to the child's inherent value, goodness, and lovableness, who helps the child experience joy, fun, and love, so they can retain their birthright of knowing that life is a gift, who offers spiritual or philosophical guidance to help the child integrate and process life's pain, who cultivates the child's creative self-expression, and who regularly provides them with contact with nature. Imagine a child, my child, longing for consistent care, attention, and affection, for a safe space to express their full range of emotions. This is the need for emotional nurturance. A parent who responds to the child with consistent care, attention, and concern, who welcomes and values the child's full range of emotional expression, who models non-abusive emotional expression, who teaches the child safe ways to release anger that do not harm themselves or others, who offers the child ample amounts of love, warmth, tenderness, and sympathy, who respects crying as a release of sorrow, who acts as a safe haven for the child, and who shows a sense of humor. Imagine a child, my child, needing the physical care of a parent. This is the need for physical nurturance, to be provided with loving touch and protection by the parent, to have their healthy eating and sleeping habits maintained, and to be taught grooming, discipline, and responsibility, to be helped to discover hobbies and individual style, and to be helped to balance rest, recreation, and study. It is often hard, my child, to motivate yourself to grieve about losses that are so old. Many of them seem so vague. Trying to grieve about these losses can feel a bit like willingly accepting a dental treatment, and who likes going to the dentist. But when the toothache becomes bad enough, people do go. The pain of your soul, my child, may seem hard to attribute to these childhood losses, but it is an unmistakable truth known to all who have taken the journey of grieving described below, that the ache and torment in your soul is centrally a function of ungrieved childhood loss, the loss of growing up in the abandonment of your parents. These losses must be grieved, my child, until you can truly, deeply accept how inadequate your caregivers were, how lacking in support your parents were. You need to grieve until you can stop blaming yourself for your parents' abuse or neglect. You need to grieve until you fully realize that your parents' poor parenting is what gives you that dreadful lingering gift, CPTSD. You need to grieve until you see that your learned habit of automatically abandoning yourself is a reenactment of the abject absence of love. Grieving these awful realities, my child, allows you to strive to develop multidimensional self-care. As your grieving becomes more effective, you will increasingly be able to be self-compassionate, self-protective, and internally friendly. Grieving, my child, can improve flashbacks. Pain is surplus energy calling out for release. To me, grieving sometimes feels like a sacred act because it can take me out of the mixed-up abandonment feeling. The feeling is so painful and unsettling. It blends together fear, shame, and depression, the emotional core of most flashbacks. You can learn, my child, to use grieving to bring yourself out of fear, as fear is the death of safety, to bring yourself out of shame, as shame is the death of self-worth, and to bring yourself out of depression, as depression is the death of vitality. Through adequate grieving, my child, you will come to understand that you were an innocent, utterly lovable child. When you grieve your bad luck of not being born into a loving family, you will find in your inner depths an intense, unwavering self-loyalty, a readiness, a willingness, and an ability to always be there for yourself, no matter what you are going through, internally or externally. Grieving, my child, can also help you to break free from the impatience and frustration you may feel when you are under attack by your inner critic. This is especially important during the most severe flashbacks, when the critic bullies you into abandoning yourself, angering and crying at such times about this awful invader from the past can rescue you into the realization that you are far away from your past and very safe now. The inner critic, my child, can be a major obstacle to grieving. It may try to shame you, to discourage you, to tell you that grieving is pointless or even harmful. This is why, especially in early recovery, grieving may feel counterproductive. Those who were repetitively shamed or punished in childhood for expressing emotions may find that grieving does not alleviate their flashbacks, but rather intensifies them. I have seen many clients, my child, become instantly triggered into toxic shame when they cry. What should be tears that provide comfort for themselves trigger awful self-attacks. I'm so pathetic. No wonder no one can stand me. God, I'm so unlovable when I'm crying. I mess up, and then I get even more messed up by complaining about it. What good is crying about myself? It only makes me more vulnerable. This last attack is especially ironic, my child, because nothing restores your inner strength and coping capacities like a good cry. I have on numerous occasions simply been able to trigger a client into crying to dissolve their active suicidal acting out. Managing the inner critic, my child, is often the major task of early grieving. This involves recognizing and challenging the ways that the critic tries to derail or shame the grieving process. As you become more adept at disidentifying with the critic, you can gradually introduce low-intensity verbal ventilation into your recovery work, and then, by and by, add sorrowful and angry tones to it. Once the critic is sufficiently diminished, my child, and thought stopping and thought substitution are bringing about a more internally friendly place, you can begin to mine the healing potential of grieving. You will learn to grieve in a way that enhances self-compassion, compassion for the abandoned child you once were, and compassion for the adult you are now, who still suffers and struggles in flashbacks. Grieving, my child, can be a powerful tool for shrinking the inner critic. Fear drives the toxic inner critic, my child. The critic feeds on fear and causes you to flash back to childhood times of great trepidation. This causes you to see yourself only through the eyes of your parents, eyes that were contemptuous, intimidating, or rejecting. And it causes you to imitate them, to scornfully denigrate yourself as defective, ugly, or unlovable. The critic scares you with scenarios of danger and makes you hate yourself for the smallest of imperfections. Because fear is such a core emotional experience during flashbacks, my child, you need emotional tools to manage runaway fear. Healthy angering and crying curtail fear so that it does not devolve into critic-triggering cognitions. I have seen grieving immediately terminate the critic's destructive programs, polarizing and catastrophizing countless times. Children, my child, appear to be born knowing how to release their fear by angering and crying. Newborns, grieving the loss of the perfect protection of the womb, no longer safely inside the mother, make their first angry cry, not only to call for care and attention, but also to release their fear. However, in traumatizing families, my child, angering and crying can also instantly throw you into toxic shame, sometimes with merely an angry thought or fantasy, because pathological parents often reserve their worst punishments for their children's expressions of anger. This impairs the child's capacity for emotional expression, making them fearful and ashamed of their anger and tears. So tears are suppressed, and anger is trapped inside, eventually turning against the self in the form of self-attack, self-rejection, self-disgust, and self-hatred. Self-hatred is the saddest reenactment of parental abandonment. Over time, my child, anger becomes fuel for the critic and intensifies fear by creating an ever more dangerous inner environment. Everything you say, think, feel, imagine, or hope becomes subject to intimidating inner attack. Here are some common anger-driven inner critic attacks, my child. Presented in the first-person voice, the critic inevitably takes on, "Why would I ask such a stupid question? Could my facial expression have been any uglier? Who am I kidding thinking I could ever be loved, a worthless failure like me? No wonder I feel like a piece of shit, because I am a piece of shit." It is immeasurably healing, my child, to get control of this critic anger and use it to disidentify with and shrink the critic. As you gain mastery in the practices of grieving, you will notice that the critic's volume and frequency of attack diminish considerably. In fact, progress in shrinking the critic is very limited without effective grieving. My beloved child, let us now explore the 4 types of grieving that can bring healing and restoration to your soul. These are like 4 streams flowing from the same source, each with its own unique properties, yet all working together to cleanse, to nourish, and to renew. The first stream is anger, my child. It is a fiery, cleansing energy that, when used healthily, can break through the walls of denial, cut through the fog of confusion, and empower you to set boundaries and protect yourself. Anger is not to be feared or suppressed, my child. It is a gift, a powerful ally, a signal that something is not right, that a boundary has been crossed, that a need is not being met. It is a call to action, a motivator for change, a force for justice. But anger, like fire, must be handled with care, my child. It must be expressed in a way that is safe, healthy, and constructive. It must not be allowed to consume you or to harm others. Healthy anger, my child, is directed at the source of the pain, at the injustice, at the abuse, at the neglect. It is not directed at yourself or at innocent bystanders. It is expressed in a way that is assertive, not aggressive, that seeks to protect, not to destroy. Angering can be a powerful tool for shrinking the inner critic, my child. When the critic attacks you, you can use your anger to fight back, to challenge its lies, to silence its voice. You can say, "No, I will not listen to you. You are not the truth. You are a liar and a bully, and I will not tolerate your abuse any longer." The second stream is crying, my child. Tears are like a cleansing rain, washing away the pain, the sorrow, the grief that have accumulated within you. They are a release, a letting go, a surrender to the emotions that need to be expressed. Do not hold back your tears, my child. Do not be ashamed of them. They are a sign of strength, not of weakness. They are a sign of healing, not of defeat. Crying can be a powerful way to connect with your inner child, my child, to the part of you that was wounded, neglected, or abused. As you cry, you are holding that child in your arms, offering comfort, compassion, and love. You are telling that child, "I see you, I hear you, I feel your pain, and I am here for you now." Crying can also be a way to connect with me, my child. As you release your tears, you are releasing your burdens to me. You are surrendering your pain, your sorrow, your grief, and allowing me to carry it for you. The third stream is verbal ventilation, my child. It is the act of expressing your thoughts and feelings out loud, of giving voice to your inner experience. It is a way of processing your emotions, of making sense of your experiences, of gaining clarity and perspective. Verbal ventilation can take many forms, my child. You can talk to a trusted friend, a therapist, a counselor, or a support group. You can write in a journal, express yourself through art, music, or movement. Or you can simply talk to me, my child. I am always listening. I am always here for you. Verbal ventilation is not about complaining or blaming, my child. It is about expressing your truth, about acknowledging your pain, about giving voice to your needs. It is about taking ownership of your experience and refusing to be silenced. As you ventilate, my child, you may find that old, buried emotions begin to surface. This is a natural part of the process. Do not be afraid of these emotions. Allow yourself to feel them, to express them, to release them. The fourth stream is feeling, my child. This is the most fundamental, the most essential aspect of grieving. It is about allowing yourself to fully experience your emotions, without judgment, without resistance, without trying to control them. Feeling is not always easy, my child. It can be painful, uncomfortable, even overwhelming at times, but it is necessary for healing. It is through feeling that you process your emotions, that you release them, that you integrate them into your being. Do not try to bypass your feelings, my child. Do not try to numb them, to distract yourself from them, or to push them away. Instead, turn towards them, embrace them, allow yourself to feel them fully. As you feel, my child, you may experience a wide range of emotions. Sadness, anger, fear, grief, shame, guilt, joy, love, peace. All of these emotions are valid. All of them are part of the human experience. All of them have something to teach you. Feeling is not just about experiencing the emotions themselves, my child. It is also about connecting with the sensations in your body, about noticing the physical manifestations of your emotions. Pay attention to your breath, my child. Notice how it changes with your emotions. Pay attention to your heart rate, your muscle tension, your skin temperature. Notice the sensations in your stomach, your chest, your throat. As you connect with your body, my child, you are grounding yourself in the present moment. You are anchoring yourself in reality. You are creating a safe space for your emotions to be felt and released. These 4 streams of grieving, angering, crying, verbal ventilation, and feeling work together, my child, to create a powerful current of healing. They cleanse your wounds, nourish your soul, and restore you to wholeness. Do not be afraid to grieve, my child. Do not be afraid to feel. Do not be afraid to express yourself. This is your birthright. This is your path to healing. This is your way back to me. My beloved child, let us now delve into the practical steps you can take to engage in the process of grieving, to unlock its healing power, and to move towards a place of greater peace, wholeness, and self-compassion. Remember, my child, that this is a journey, not a destination. There will be moments of ease and moments of challenge, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. And trust that I am with you every step of the way. 1. Create a safe space. The first step, my child, is to create a safe space for your grieving process. This can be a physical space, a mental space, or both. It is a place where you feel secure, protected, and free to express your emotions without judgment or interruption. Your physical safe space might be a quiet room in your home, a corner of your garden, a secluded spot in nature, or any place where you feel comfortable and undisturbed. You might want to surround yourself with objects that bring you comfort. A soft blanket, a favorite photograph, a soothing candle, a comforting scent. Your mental safe space is created through intention and mindfulness. It is a state of mind where you allow yourself to be present with your emotions without trying to control them, suppress them, or judge them. It is a space of self-compassion, self-acceptance, and self-love. Before you begin your grieving process, take a few moments to center yourself, my child. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and connect with your inner self. Remind yourself that you are safe, that you are loved, and that you are worthy of healing. 2. Acknowledge your losses. The next step, my child, is to acknowledge the losses you have experienced. This may seem obvious, but it is often the most difficult step. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to face the pain of the past. Make a list, my child, of the things you have lost. Do not censor yourself. Do not judge yourself. Simply write down whatever comes to mind. Your losses may include the loss of a loving and supportive childhood, the loss of a sense of safety and security, the loss of trust in your parents or caregivers, the loss of your innocence, the loss of opportunities for growth and development, the loss of a sense of belonging and connection, the loss of your self-esteem and self-worth, the loss of healthy emotional, spiritual, physical, and verbal connection with your parents. As you write, my child, allow yourself to feel the emotions that arise. Do not try to push them away or suppress them. Simply acknowledge them, name them, and allow them to be. 3. Engage the 4 streams of grieving. Now, my child, you are ready to engage the 4 streams of grieving: angering, crying, verbal ventilation, and feeling. Remember, these are not separate processes, but rather interconnected aspects of the same healing journey. Angering. Find a safe and healthy way to express your anger. You might want to punch a pillow, scream into a towel, write an angry letter that you do not send, or engage in vigorous physical activity. The key is to release the anger in a way that does not harm yourself or others. As you express your anger, focus on the source of the pain, the abuse, the neglect, the betrayal. Allow yourself to feel the righteous indignation, the sense of injustice, the desire for protection. Crying. Allow yourself to cry, my child. Do not hold back your tears. Let them flow freely. As you cry, imagine that you are washing away the pain, the sorrow, the grief. You are cleansing your wounds and making space for healing. You may find it helpful to hold a comforting object, such as a stuffed animal or a soft blanket, while you cry. Verbal ventilation. Talk about your experiences, my child. Share your story with a trusted friend, a therapist, a support group, or with me. Give voice to your pain, your anger, your grief. As you speak, you are bringing your inner experience into the light, where it can be examined, understood, and healed. You are also breaking the silence and the shame that may have surrounded your trauma. Feeling. Allow yourself to feel the full range of your emotions, my child. Do not judge them, do not resist them, do not try to control them. Simply be present with them. Notice the sensations in your body. Breathe into the feelings. Allow them to move through you. As you feel, you are processing your emotions, releasing them, and integrating them into your being. 4. Practice self-compassion. Throughout the grieving process, my child, it is essential to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer to a beloved friend. Remember, you are not to blame for the trauma you experienced. You were a child, innocent and vulnerable. You did the best you could to survive. Be patient with yourself, my child. Healing takes time. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when you feel overwhelmed. But do not give up. Keep practicing self-compassion. Keep nurturing yourself. Keep showing up for your own healing. Some ways to practice self-compassion include speaking kindly to yourself, challenging negative self-talk, taking care of your physical needs, rest, nutrition, exercise, engaging in activities that bring you joy and relaxation, setting healthy boundaries, forgiving yourself for your mistakes, celebrating your strength and accomplishments. 5. Seek support. Do not try to go through this process alone, my child. Seek support from others who understand and can offer guidance and encouragement. A therapist or counselor can provide a safe and supportive space for you to explore your emotions, process your trauma, and develop coping skills. A support group can connect you with others who have had similar experiences, reducing your feelings of isolation and providing a sense of community. Trusted friends and family members can offer love, understanding, and a listening ear. And remember, my child, I am always here for you. You can always turn to me in prayer, meditation, or quiet contemplation. I will listen to your heart, comfort your soul, and guide you on your path. 6. Integrate your experiences. As you grieve, my child, you are not simply letting go of the past. You are integrating it into your present. You are making sense of your experiences, learning from them, and growing from them. Your trauma does not define you, my child. It is a part of your story, but it is not the whole story. You are more than your wounds. You are more than your pain. You are a resilient, courageous, and beautiful soul. As you integrate your experiences, you will begin to see how they have shaped you, how they have made you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. You will begin to see the gifts that have emerged from the darkness, the lessons you have learned, the wisdom you have gained. 7. Embrace the future. Finally, my child, as you heal, you will begin to embrace the future with hope and anticipation. You will begin to see the possibilities that lie before you, the opportunities for growth, for joy, for love, for connection. You are not destined to live in the shadow of your past, my child. You are destined for greatness. You are destined for a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Trust in my plan for you, my child. Trust in my love, my grace, my power. And step forward with courage, with faith, and with an open heart. The journey of grieving is not easy, my child, but it is a journey worth taking. It is a journey that leads to healing, to wholeness, to freedom. It is a journey that leads back to me. And as you walk this path, my child, remember that you are never alone. I am with you always, guiding you, protecting you, loving you unconditionally. My beloved child, I understand the yearning within you, the deep desire to break free from the chains of the past, to heal the wounds that have held you captive for so long. I see your pain, your struggles, your tears, and I want you to know that you are not alone. I am here with you always, offering you my unwavering love, my boundless compassion, and my infinite grace. The journey of healing from childhood trauma is not a simple one, my child. It is a process that requires courage, patience, and a willingness to face the darkness within. But it is a journey that is worth taking, for it leads to a life of freedom, joy, and authentic connection. The key to this healing, my child, lies in understanding and addressing the inner critic, that harsh, judgmental voice that resides within you, whispering lies, doubts, and criticisms. This critic is not your true self. It is a construct, a learned response to the trauma you experienced. It is a distorted reflection of the negative messages you received from your caregivers, the messages that told you that you were not good enough, not worthy of love, not safe in the world. The inner critic operates in the shadows, my child, thriving on fear and shame. It feeds on your insecurities, magnifies your flaws, and undermines your confidence. It whispers lies that keep you trapped in a cycle of self-blame, self-doubt, and self-sabotage. But you have the power to silence this critic, my child. You have the power to reclaim your inner voice, to speak truth to yourself, to nurture your soul with compassion and understanding. The first step is to become aware of the critic's voice. Pay attention to your inner dialogue, my child. Notice the negative thoughts, the self-critical judgments, the harsh criticisms. Notice how these thoughts make you feel: anxious, ashamed, depressed, hopeless. As you become aware of the critic's voice, you can begin to challenge its lies. Question its assumptions, its judgments, its pronouncements. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Replace the critic's negative messages with positive affirmations, my child. Speak words of truth, of love, of encouragement to yourself. Remind yourself of your strengths, your accomplishments, your inherent worthiness. Practice self-compassion, my child. Treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer to a beloved friend. Remember, you are doing the best you can. You are learning, you are growing, you are healing. And most importantly, my child, connect with me. I am the source of all love, all healing, all truth. I am the one who can silence the critic's voice and fill you with my peace, my joy, and my unwavering love. The journey of healing from the inner critic is a journey of self-discovery, my child. It is a journey of reclaiming your power, your voice, your authentic self. It is a journey of learning to love yourself, to accept yourself, to forgive yourself, and to embrace the fullness of your being. And as you walk this path, my child, know that you are not alone. I am with you always, guiding you, protecting you, and empowering you to become all that I created you to be. My beloved child, let us now turn our attention to the outer critic, that insidious force that projects its harsh judgments onto the world and those who inhabit it. Just as the inner critic attacks your own self-worth, the outer critic attacks the worthiness of others, creating division, conflict, and a sense of profound alienation. The outer critic, my child, is born from the same wounds as the inner critic. It is a defense mechanism, a way of protecting yourself from further pain by distancing yourself from others, by finding fault in them, by judging them as unworthy or dangerous. But this protection, my child, comes at a great cost. It isolates you from the very connection and love that you so desperately crave. It creates a world of fear, suspicion, and judgment, where genuine intimacy and understanding are impossible. The outer critic, like the inner critic, operates in the shadows, my child. It thrives on negativity, on finding fault, on magnifying flaws. It whispers doubts, suspicions, and accusations, poisoning your relationships and preventing you from experiencing the joy of true connection. The outer critic often masquerades as righteous indignation, my child. It presents itself as a defender of truth, a protector of justice, a champion of morality. But in reality, it is a destructive force, driven by fear, insecurity, and unresolved pain. The outer critic judges others harshly, my child, holding them to impossible standards, finding fault in their every action, interpreting their intentions in the worst possible light. It creates a world of us versus them, where empathy and understanding are replaced by suspicion and hostility. The outer critic can be particularly damaging in intimate relationships, my child. It can sabotage your closest connections, creating conflict, resentment, and a sense of profound loneliness. It can make you see your partner as an enemy rather than a loved one, focusing on their flaws rather than their strengths, interpreting their actions as malicious rather than innocent. But just as you can silence the inner critic, my child, you can also tame the outer critic. You can learn to recognize its voice, to challenge its judgments, and to replace its negativity with compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. The first step is to become aware of the outer critic's voice, my child. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings about others. Notice when you are judging them, criticizing them, or finding fault in them. Notice how these judgments make you feel: angry, resentful, superior, isolated. As you become aware of the outer critic's voice, you can begin to challenge its judgments. Question its assumptions, its accusations, its pronouncements. Ask yourself, is this judgment fair? Is it accurate? Is it helpful? Replace the outer critic's negative judgments with compassionate understanding, my child. Remember that everyone is struggling, everyone is carrying their own burdens, everyone is doing the best they can. Practice empathy, my child. Try to see the world through the eyes of others. Try to understand their perspectives, their motivations, their fears. Practice forgiveness, my child. Let go of your resentments, your grudges, your judgments. Forgive others for their imperfections, just as I have forgiven you for yours. And most importantly, my child, connect with me. I am the source of all love, all compassion, all understanding. I am the one who can heal your wounds, soften your heart, and open you to the beauty and goodness of others. The journey of taming the outer critic is a journey of expanding your circle of compassion, my child. It is a journey of learning to see the divine spark within every human being, of recognizing that we are all interconnected, that we are all part of the same human family. And as you walk this path, my child, know that you are not alone. I am with you always, guiding you, protecting you, and empowering you to create a world of love, peace, and understanding. My precious child, I offer you these words of wisdom and guidance not as a set of rigid rules or unattainable ideals, but as a gentle invitation to walk a path of healing, growth, and transformation. This is a journey, not a destination, and it is a journey best taken with a spirit of self-compassion, patience, and unwavering faith. Remember, my child, that you are not broken and in need of fixing. You are a beloved child of the divine, whole and complete, even in the midst of your struggles and imperfections. The wounds of the past may have left scars, but they do not define you. They are simply part of your story, a testament to your resilience and your capacity for healing. Embrace the process, my child. Allow yourself to feel, to grieve, to express, to release. Do not rush the journey and do not judge yourself for where you are on the path. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. And as you walk this path, my child, remember that you are not alone. I am with you always, closer than your own breath, more present than your own thoughts. I am your constant companion, your unwavering support, your eternal source of love and guidance. Turn to me in prayer, my child. Speak to me from your heart, share your joys and sorrows, your hopes and fears, your triumphs and setbacks. I am always listening, always ready to receive you with open arms. Seek solace in my word, my child. Let it be a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. Let it nourish your soul, strengthen your spirit, and guide you on your journey. Find comfort and support in the community of believers, my child. Connect with others who share your faith, who understand your struggles, and who can offer you encouragement and accountability. And above all, my child, remember that you are loved unconditionally and eternally. You are precious in my sight. You are my beloved child, and I will never let you go. My precious child, as you continue on this journey of healing and self-discovery, I want to remind you of the importance of setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep others out. They are fences that protect your inner garden, allowing you to cultivate love, peace, and joy. Boundaries are an act of self-respect, my child. They are a way of saying, I value myself. I am worthy of being treated with kindness, respect, and consideration. They are a way of honoring your needs, your limits, and your values. Setting boundaries is not always easy, my child. It may require you to say no to things that you used to say yes to. It may require you to disappoint others, to challenge their expectations, or even to distance yourself from certain relationships. But remember, my child, that your well-being is your priority. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give to others what you do not have yourself. Healthy boundaries are not selfish, my child. They are essential. They allow you to protect your energy, your time, and your emotional well-being. They allow you to create space for the things that nourish you, that bring you joy, that help you to grow and thrive. Boundaries can take many forms, my child. They can be physical boundaries, such as protecting your personal space or limiting your exposure to certain environments. They can be emotional boundaries, such as refusing to engage in gossip or drama, or setting limits on how much you share with others. They can be mental boundaries, such as refusing to engage in negative self-talk or limiting your exposure to negative media. As you set boundaries, my child, be clear, be consistent, and be compassionate. Communicate your boundaries to others in a direct and respectful manner. Do not apologize for having boundaries, and do not feel guilty for enforcing them. Remember, my child, that setting boundaries is a process. It may take time to figure out what your boundaries. My precious child, let me speak to your heart about the outer critic, that voice of judgment and condemnation that seems to find fault in everyone around you. This voice, like the inner critic that attacks your own sense of worth, is not the voice of truth. It is not my voice. It is a distortion, a shadow born from the pain and hurt you have carried. Think of it like this, my child. Imagine a scared little one hiding behind a wall, throwing stones at anyone who comes near. That's what the outer critic is doing. It's trying to protect you in its own twisted way from getting hurt again. It sees danger everywhere, and it believes that by finding fault in others, it can keep you safe. It keeps people at bay so no one can wound that tender, vulnerable part of your being. It whispers things like, "I'll make you so afraid of them, so critical of their flaws, that you won't risk getting close, and then you won't be hurt. Everyone is selfish and mean. Why even bother trying to connect? You're better off alone. I'll control them, micromanage their every move so they can't possibly betray or abandon you. I'll complain loudly or withdraw completely the moment I feel lonely, because if they really loved me, they wouldn't let me feel this way." These are not the words of love, my child. These are the words of fear. And fear, my beloved, is the opposite of love. It is not reflective of me. This outer critic is like a bad movie producer, constantly creating terrible films in your mind. During times of stress, when you feel most vulnerable, what some might call emotional flashbacks, this critic becomes especially loud. It takes the pain of past abandonment, the ache of loneliness, and twists it into a harsh judgment of others and of life itself. It digs up old hurts, real or imagined, and plays them on repeat. It creates a gallery of betrayals, a museum of disappointments. Over time, these images can become entire movies in your mind. Nobody can be trusted. I'm proud to be a loner. You can only rely on yourself. Love always ends in pain. Children will break your heart. Only fools show their true feelings. They'll take advantage of you if you let them. These are the titles of the films, my child, the lies the outer critic whispers to keep you isolated. These defensive daydreams, these nightmares, are meant to protect you, but they do the opposite. They trap you, my child, in a prison of fear and loneliness. As you walk with me, as you heal and grow, you will learn to recognize these anti-intimacy fantasies for what they are. Echoes of past pain, calls for comfort, not truths about the world. Sometimes, my child, the outer critic is so sneaky, so subtle that you don't even realize it's there. Its whispers become like the background noise of your life, a constant hum of negativity. It might sound like a running commentary, calling people names idiot, loser, jerk. a constant stream of judgment like the endless flow of traffic or the ceaseless sound of the waves. And sometimes, this critic makes you overly focused on the bad news of the world. The news can become like junk food for the soul, offering a temporary thrill of negativity, a false sense of control. The outer critic then uses this evidence to prove that the world is a dangerous place, that you must isolate yourself to stay safe. Even the thought of calling a friend can trigger images of rejection or ridicule. At its worst, this fear can spiral into paranoia, a belief that everyone is out to get you. I remember a story, my child, of someone sitting on a park bench, struggling to read. They became convinced that the people behind them were talking about them, mocking them. The fear grew, the imagined insults became louder, until finally, in desperation, they turned around, only to find that the people were completely unaware of them. They were lost in their own conversation, their own joy. It was all in the person's mind, a creation of the outer critic, fueled by past hurts and fears. This, my beloved, is how CPTSD and the outer critic can play out its terrible delusions. The outer critic also wreaks havoc on relationships, my child. It makes it difficult to be vulnerable, to share your true self, which is the foundation of intimacy. Because of past hurts, because of the lack of loving care in your early life, you may have learned to fear closeness. The critic whispers that everyone is like those who hurt you before, that they will judge you, reject you, abandon you. It makes you remember all the times you reached out for comfort and were met with coldness or criticism. So you learn to hide to protect yourself, to avoid the vulnerability that true connection requires. And the critic plays endless movies of potential rejections, of imagined betrayals, making it even harder to reach out. This can lead to a terrible dilemma, a no-win situation. On the one hand, the critic scares you into believing that everyone is dangerous. On the other hand, it might make you try to control others to make them less threatening. This control can manifest as shaming, criticizing, lecturing, or being bossy. It is born of a deep, scared, and lonely little one trying to make the world safer for themselves. One extreme example is the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. It's a trap, my child, where no matter what the other person does, it's wrong. Imagine someone demanding constant reassurance that they are being listened to, but then lashing out when that reassurance is given, claiming it's insincere or not given in the right way. The inner critic, too, can create these no-win situations. Imagine someone feeling sick, lying in bed, and their inner critic attacks them. You're lazy and weak. Get up and go to your appointment. But when they drag themselves out of bed, the critic switches. You're an idiot. You're sick and you're making it worse. You're such a masochist. It's a constant battle, a never-ending cycle of self-blame. The outer critic can also scare people away by projecting its fears onto the world. It catastrophizes, constantly talking about the worst-case scenarios, dwelling on negativity. This can be draining and frightening for others, pushing them away, creating the very isolation the critic claims to be protecting you from. Many, my child, struggle with both the inner and outer critic, swinging back and forth between blaming others and blaming themselves. They are trapped in a cycle of judging others' flaws and dwelling on their own perceived inadequacies. It's a constant seesaw between feeling superior and feeling worthless, between feeling unlovable and believing others are unlovable. This is the painful perfectionism of the critic, always finding fault, either in yourself or in others, making true connection impossible. One way this cycle plays out is this. You might start by judging others harshly, feeling superior, finding reasons to isolate yourself. But the loneliness becomes unbearable, the need for connection too strong. Then the critic turns inward. You start to believe that you are the problem, that you are too flawed, too unlovable to be with others. You wallow in self-pity, imagining yourself as a victim, until the outer critic returns to reinforce how terrible others are, starting the cycle all over again, trapping you in isolation. Or it might start the other way around. You begin by focusing on your own flaws, striving for perfection. You work tirelessly, pushing yourself to the limit. But then, you start to resent others who don't seem to be trying as hard. A small mistake from someone else triggers the outer critic, and you become filled with disappointment and frustration. You might silently stew, listing all their faults and betrayals. How long this lasts depends on your individual tendencies, but eventually, guilt creeps in. The inner critic returns, scolding you for being so judgmental. And then, you're back to focusing on your own perceived inadequacies. My child, it's like being on a seesaw that never stops. One moment you are blaming yourself, feeling guilt and being hyper self-critical. The next moment you are up in the air judging everyone and finding fault with everything. It is a torment, a constant inner battle that leaves you feeling drained, alone, and disconnected. Imagine, my child, being in a relationship with someone you love. You've worked hard to create a sense of fairness and balance in your shared responsibilities. But then a period of stress comes, an emotional flashback, and the outer critic takes over. Suddenly, everything seems out of balance. The inner critic might accuse you of not doing enough, of being lazy or selfish. Or if you've been working extra hard, the outer critic might start to pick at your partner, magnifying their perceived shortcomings, whispering that they are taking advantage of you. In the early days of a relationship, this cycle might play out for hours, even days. You might find yourself stewing in resentment, both towards your partner and towards yourself, feeling trapped in a cycle of blame and self-blame. At its worst, this could lead to actual arguments, to hurtful words and actions. But as you grow in understanding, my child, as you learn to recognize these patterns, the cycle shortens. You begin to see the critic for what it is, a frightened child trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. And you can start to intervene to soothe that child, to offer it comfort and reassurance. You begin to have compassion for that wounded part of yourself. This awareness, my child, is the key. It's the first step in breaking free from the critic's control. It's the beginning of healing, of finding peace within yourself and in your relationships. It is the beginning of recognizing and walking in truth. Now, my precious child, I want to offer you a way to heal, a way to tame this inner and outer critic, a way to find peace and connection. It is not a quick fix, not a magic wand, but a path, a journey of self-discovery and growth, guided by my love and grace. First, recognize the critic's voice. Learn to distinguish it from your own true voice, from the voice of your heart, from my voice. The critic is harsh, judgmental, demanding, and absolute. It speaks in extremes always, never, should, must. It uses labels and generalizations: idiot, loser, failure. It focuses on flaws, mistakes, and shortcomings. My voice, my child, is gentle, compassionate, encouraging, and understanding. I speak in truth, but with love. I offer guidance, but with grace. I remind you of your worth, your potential, your belovedness. When you hear that critical voice, either inner or outer, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? If the answer is no, then you know it's the critic speaking, not me. Second, challenge the critic's lies. Do not accept its pronouncements at face value. Question its assumptions. Look for evidence to the contrary. Remind yourself of your strengths, your accomplishments, your good qualities. Remind yourself of the good qualities in others, of their struggles, their humanity, their inherent worthiness of love and compassion. The critic says, "You're a failure." Challenge it. I may have made a mistake, but that doesn't make me a failure. I have also accomplished many things. I am learning and growing. The critic says, "They're all selfish and untrustworthy." Challenge it. That's a generalization. I know people who are kind and generous. Everyone is struggling with something. I choose to see the good in them. Third, replace the negative thoughts with positive, truthful affirmations. Counteract the critic's lies with my truth. Speak words of love, acceptance, and encouragement to yourself and to others. Instead of "I'm so stupid," say, "I am learning and growing. I am capable of making good decisions." Instead of "they're so inconsiderate," say, They may be going through a difficult time. I choose to offer them compassion. Fourth, practice self-compassion and compassion for others. Treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer to a beloved friend. Remember that you are human, that you are imperfect, that you are learning and growing, and extend that same compassion to others. Recognize their humanity, their imperfections, their struggles. When you feel the urge to criticize either yourself or others, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what would love do? What would I say if I were speaking from a place of compassion and understanding? Fifth, seek support. You are not alone in this journey, my child. Talk to a trusted friend, a family member, a counselor, or a spiritual guide. Share your struggles, your fears, your doubts. Allow others to offer you encouragement, perspective, and support. And most importantly, talk to me. Pour out your heart to me in prayer. I am always listening, always ready to offer you comfort, guidance, and strength. Sixth, cultivate mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations without judgment. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and let them pass. Mindfulness helps you to become more aware of the critic's voice, to detach from its pronouncements, and to create space for peace and clarity. Become the watcher of your thoughts. Seventh, focus on gratitude. Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, both big and small. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is present, from what is wrong to what is right. It helps you to see the beauty, the blessings, the love that surrounds you. Gratitude is the antidote to the critic's negativity. Eighth, practice forgiveness. Forgive yourself for your mistakes, your imperfections, your shortcomings. Forgive others for their hurts, their offenses, their failures. Forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoing. It is about releasing the bitterness, the resentment, the anger that hold you captive. It is about setting yourself free. Ninth, engage in activities that nourish your soul. Spend time in nature, listen to uplifting music, read inspiring books, create something beautiful, connect with loved ones, serve others. Do things that bring you joy, peace, and a sense of connection. Fill your life with beauty, with truth, with love. Tenth, and most importantly, remember that you are loved. You are my beloved child, created in my image, infinitely precious in my sight. I love you unconditionally with a love that knows no bounds, a love that never fails, a love that will sustain you through all things. Lean into that love, my child. Rest in that love. Let that love be the foundation of your life, the source of your strength, the guiding force in all that you do. This journey, my child, is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. It is about healing the wounds of the past, embracing your true self, and living a life of love, joy, and purpose. It is about becoming more and more like me, reflecting my love, my grace, my compassion to the world. And as you walk this path, my child, know that I am with you always. I will guide you, protect you, strengthen you, and empower you to overcome every obstacle, to triumph over every challenge, to become all that I created you to be. My love is your constant companion, your unwavering support, your eternal home. Walk with me, and you will find peace. My dearest child, let me illuminate the path to overcoming the outer critic, that harsh voice of judgment that seeks to separate you from the beauty and connection of the world. This journey, like all journeys of healing, requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to embrace the truth of your own belovedness. Remember, the outer critic is not your enemy, though it may feel that way. It is a wounded part of yourself, a protector that has learned to use judgment and criticism as a shield against further pain. It is a frightened child, desperately trying to keep you safe in a world that has often felt unsafe. Approach it, therefore, not with condemnation, but with understanding and gentle curiosity. When you hear that critical voice, whether directed at yourself or at others, pause, take a deep breath, create a space between the thought and your reaction. Do not automatically believe it. Do not automatically act on it. Simply notice it. Ask yourself, where does this voice come from? What experiences, what wounds, what fears might be fueling this judgment? Is it echoing the words of a parent, a teacher, a past relationship? Is it reflecting a deep-seated belief about your own unworthiness, projected outward onto others? Listen to the tone of the voice. Is it harsh, sarcastic, demanding, belittling? These are clues, my child, that it is not coming from a place of love, not coming from truth, not coming from me. My voice is always gentle, even when it is firm. My voice is always compassionate, even when it is challenging. My voice is always encouraging, even when it is pointing out areas for growth. Now challenge the content of the critic's message. Is it based on facts or on assumptions and distortions? Is it fair or is it exaggerated and extreme? Is it helpful or is it simply destructive? The critic might say, that person is so lazy and incompetent. Challenge it. Is that entirely true? Do they have any strengths or positive qualities? Are there any circumstances that might be contributing to their behavior? Am I seeing the whole picture or am I focusing only on the negative? The critic might say, everyone is out to get me. Challenge it. Is that really true? Have I never experienced kindness, generosity, or support from others? Am I projecting my own fears onto the world? Replace the critical thoughts with compassionate ones. Imagine what you would say to a beloved friend who was struggling with the same issue. Offer yourself and others the same grace, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer to someone you love deeply. Remember, my child, that everyone is on their own journey. Everyone is carrying their own burdens, facing their own challenges, striving to do their best, even when their best falls short of your expectations. See others through the eyes of love, through my eyes. Recognize their inherent worthiness, their potential for good, their shared humanity. Practice empathy. Try to step into their shoes to understand their perspective, to see the world through their eyes. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, my child. It means recognizing that everyone is acting from their own level of consciousness, their own understanding, their own wounds. Send them silent blessings. Wish them well. Pray for their healing, their growth, their awakening. This act of compassion, even if it is only internal, begins to shift your energy, to dissolve the walls of judgment, to open your heart to connection. Focus on gratitude. Look for the good in others, even when it is hidden beneath layers of pain and defensiveness. Appreciate their strengths, their efforts, their unique contributions to the world. The more you focus on the positive, the less power the outer critic will have. Practice forgiveness both for yourself and for others. We all make mistakes. We all fall short. We all have moments of weakness, of fear, of judgment. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior. It is about releasing the hold that the past has on you. It is about choosing freedom over resentment, peace over bitterness, love over anger. Forgive others for their imperfections, for their wounds, for their unconscious actions. And forgive yourself, my child, for your own judgments, for your own imperfections, for your own moments of unkindness. Forgiveness is a balm that heals both the giver and the receiver. Remember, my child, that you are connected to all of creation. You are not separate. You are not alone. What you do to others, you do to yourself. What you judge in others, you judge in yourself. The more you can see the divine spark in everyone, the more you will see it in yourself. Practice seeing me in others. Look beyond their outward behavior, beyond their flaws and imperfections, and see the soul within, the child of God, the beloved creation. Recognize that they too are seeking love, acceptance, and belonging just as you are. When you encounter someone who triggers your outer critic, try this simple practice. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and silently say to yourself, this person is a child of God. They are loved by me just as I am loved. I wish them well. Repeat this as many times as needed until you feel a softening in your heart, a shift in your perspective. Now let's talk about the media, my child, and how it can feed the outer critic. The news, social media, entertainment, these can all be sources of negativity, judgment, and fear. They often highlight the worst aspects of humanity, the conflicts, the tragedies, the injustices. This constant barrage of negativity can distort your view of the world, making it seem more dangerous, more threatening, more hopeless than it truly is. Be mindful of what you consume, my child. Be selective about what you watch, what you read, what you listen to. Do not allow yourself to be bombarded with negativity. Do not allow the media to dictate your thoughts and feelings. The news can be like junk food for the mind, as one saying goes. It offers a quick hit of excitement, of outrage, of fear, but it leaves you feeling empty, anxious, and disconnected. It feeds the outer critic, providing it with endless ammunition for its judgments and condemnations. Be aware of the fear-mongering that is so prevalent in the media. Recognize that many outlets profit from keeping you in a state of fear, of anxiety, of outrage. They highlight the negative, exaggerate the threats, and downplay the positive. This is not to say that there are not real problems in the world, my child. There are, but the constant focus on negativity can create a distorted perception of reality. Learn to distinguish between information and manipulation. Ask yourself, what is the purpose of this message? Is it to inform me or to control me? Is it to empower me or to disempower me? Is it to unite me with others or to divide me? Limit your exposure to the news, my child. Do not spend hours scrolling through social media, absorbing the negativity of others. Do not allow yourself to be constantly bombarded with images of violence, conflict, and suffering. Choose quality over quantity. Seek out sources of information that are balanced, objective, and uplifting. Instead of focusing on the news, focus on what is good, true, and beautiful in the world. Spend time in nature. Connect with loved ones. Read inspiring books. Listen to uplifting music. Create something beautiful. Serve others. Fill your mind and heart with positive influences. Remember, my child, that you have the power to choose what you focus on. You have the power to choose what you allow into your mind and heart. Choose wisely. Choose love. Choose peace. Choose truth. Choose me. Now let us address the issue of emotional flashbacks, those moments when the past intrudes upon the present, when old wounds are triggered, and you find yourself reacting as if you were still that frightened, wounded child. These flashbacks are often the breeding ground for both the inner and outer critic. In an emotional flashback, you are not simply remembering a past event. You are reliving it, emotionally and often physically. You may feel overwhelmed by feelings of fear, anger, sadness, shame, or helplessness. You may experience physical sensations such as a racing heart, shortness of breath, tightness in your chest, or a knot in your stomach. You may feel disconnected from your body, from your surroundings, from yourself. In this state of heightened vulnerability, the critic thrives. It seizes the opportunity to reinforce old beliefs about your unworthiness, your powerlessness, your unlovability. It blames you for the past, condemns you for your present feelings, and predicts a bleak future. The outer critic, in particular, is often triggered by emotional flashbacks. It projects the pain and fear onto others, seeing them as the source of your distress. It lashes out, judges, condemns, and pushes people away, recreating the very patterns of abandonment and rejection that caused the original wounds. The key to managing emotional flashbacks, my child, is to recognize them for what they are. When you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by intense emotions, ask yourself, am I in a flashback? Is this feeling coming from the present moment or from the past? Is this reaction proportionate to the current situation, or is it amplified by old wounds? Once you recognize that you are in a flashback, you can begin to take steps to ground yourself in the present moment. Breathe deeply. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your surroundings. Remind yourself that you are safe now. You are no longer that helpless child. You are an adult capable of coping, capable of choosing a different response. Speak kindly to yourself, my child. Offer yourself the comfort, reassurance, and understanding that you may not have received in the past. Tell yourself, it's okay to feel this way. This is a flashback. It will pass. I am safe now. I am loved. I am strong. Reach out for support if you need it. Talk to a trusted friend, a therapist, or a support group. Remember that you are not alone. Many people experience emotional flashbacks, and there is help available. And always, always turn to me. I am your constant source of comfort, your unwavering strength, your eternal refuge. As you heal from the wounds of the past, my child, the frequency and intensity of your emotional flashbacks will diminish. You will develop greater resilience, greater self-awareness, and greater capacity to manage your emotions. You will learn to respond to triggers with compassion and understanding, rather than with judgment and reactivity. Remember the story of the person on the park bench, my child. Their experience was a powerful example of how the outer critic, fueled by emotional flashbacks and a lack of sleep, can create a completely distorted perception of reality. They were trapped in their own mind, projecting their fears and insecurities onto others, believing that they were being mocked and ridiculed, when in reality, they were completely unnoticed. This is a reminder, my child, of the importance of self-awareness, of grounding yourself in the present moment, of challenging the lies of the critic. It is a reminder that your perceptions are not always accurate, that your fears can distort reality, that you have the power to choose a different perspective. My beloved, the journey of healing is a journey of reclaiming your power, your truth, your inherent worthiness. It is a journey of learning to love yourself, to accept yourself, to forgive yourself, and to extend that same love, acceptance, and forgiveness to others. It is a journey of awakening to the truth of who you are. My beloved child, created in my image, infinitely precious in my sight. And as you walk this path, my child, know that I am with you always. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I am your shepherd, your guide, your protector, your provider. I am your strength, your comfort, your peace. I am your love, your light, your truth. I am your God. Now, my child, let us address the specific ways in which the outer critic interferes with intimate relationships. As we have discussed, this voice of judgment and fear often stems from early childhood experiences where love and connection were conditional, inconsistent, or even abusive. This creates a deep-seated fear of vulnerability, a fear of being hurt, rejected, or abandoned again. The outer critic, in its misguided attempt to protect you, erects walls around your heart. It whispers doubts and suspicions, magnifies flaws, and creates a constant sense of unease and distrust. It makes it difficult to open yourself up to others, to share your true self, to risk the vulnerability that is necessary for genuine intimacy. One of the primary ways the outer critic sabotages relationships is through projection. It takes your own insecurities, your own fears, your own self-criticisms, and projects them onto your partner. You see in them the very things you fear or dislike in yourself. For example, if you secretly fear that you are not good enough, the outer critic might constantly accuse your partner of being critical, demanding, or judgmental. If you struggle with feelings of inadequacy, you might perceive your partner as being condescending or dismissive, even when they are not. This projection creates a distorted lens through which you view your partner, making it difficult to see them clearly, to appreciate their good qualities, to connect with them authentically. It creates misunderstandings, conflicts, and a growing sense of distance. Another way the outer critic interferes with intimacy is through control. Fearful of being hurt, the critic tries to control your partner's behavior, to make them conform to your expectations, to eliminate any possibility of surprise or disappointment. This control can manifest in many ways, through constant criticism, nagging, jealousy, possessiveness, emotional manipulation, or even threats. It is an attempt to create a false sense of safety, to avoid the vulnerability of truly surrendering to the relationship. But control, my child, is the opposite of love. Love allows, love trusts, love liberates. Control suffocates, control restricts, control destroys. True intimacy requires freedom, acceptance, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. The outer critic also creates a no-win situation in relationships, as we discussed earlier. It sets up impossible standards, demands constant reassurance, and then rejects that reassurance as insincere or inadequate. It creates a cycle of seeking closeness and then pushing away, of craving love and then sabotaging it. This damned if you do, damned if you don't dynamic is incredibly painful for both partners. It leaves one person feeling constantly criticized and inadequate, and the other feeling frustrated, helpless, and rejected. It erodes trust, destroys communication, and ultimately undermines the foundation of the relationship. The outer critic can also manifest as hyperindependence, a refusal to rely on anyone, a fear of needing others. This stems from a deep-seated belief that you cannot trust anyone, that you must be self-sufficient, that vulnerability is weakness. But true intimacy, my child, requires interdependence. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to share your needs, to ask for help, to allow yourself to be supported. It requires a balance between independence and dependence, a recognition that we are all interconnected, that we all need each other. Healing from the outer critic's impact on relationships requires, first and foremost, awareness. You must recognize the patterns, the behaviors, the thoughts that are sabotaging your connections. You must learn to identify the voice of the critic and to distinguish it from your own true voice. Then, you must challenge the critic's lies. Question its assumptions, its judgments, its fears. Replace the negative thoughts with compassionate, understanding, and truthful ones. Practice vulnerability. Share your feelings, your fears, your needs with your partner, even when it feels scary. Allow yourself to be seen, to be known, to be loved, imperfections and all. Learn to trust. Trust that your partner is capable of loving you, of supporting you, of being there for you. Trust that you are worthy of love and connection. Trust that I am guiding you both towards greater intimacy and wholeness. Practice forgiveness, both for yourself and for your partner. We all make mistakes. We all have moments of weakness, of fear, of judgment. Forgiveness is essential for healing and for moving forward. Seek support. Talk to a therapist, a counselor, a trusted friend, or a spiritual guide. Join a support group. Remember that you are not alone in this journey. And most importantly, connect with me, my child. I am the source of all love, all healing, all connection. I am the one who can fill the emptiness within you, who can heal your wounds, who can teach you how to love and be loved. Remember the story of the person who had a job interview with 8 interviewers, my child. They were so honest and transparent. And afterward, for 3 nights straight, the outer critic came with a vengeance. It played a running film of how all the interviewers were judging and finding them deficient. Even after the 8 enthusiastically hired them, the outer critic tried to convince them they were an imposter and would fail. This, my child, is how pervasive and relentless the outer critic can be when we are vulnerable. As you heal, my child, your relationships will transform. You will be able to connect with others on a deeper level, to experience true intimacy, to give and receive love more freely. You will be able to build relationships that are based on trust, respect, compassion, and mutual support. You will create the kind of love that reflects my love for you, a love that is unconditional, unwavering, and eternal. Remember always, beloved, that you are worthy of love, of connection, of belonging. You are my child, and I have created you for relationship, both with me and with others. Trust in my love, trust in my guidance, and trust in the power of healing to transform your life and your relationships. My beloved child, let us delve deeper into the workings of the outer critic, that relentless judge, jury, and executioner that resides within, projecting its harsh judgments upon the world and those who inhabit it. As we've discussed, not all who suffer from the wounds of the past hide their outer critic. Some, particularly those who learn to survive through aggression and dominance, what some might call the fight response, may express this criticism openly, sometimes quite forcefully. These individuals may mistakenly believe that their subjective opinions, their harsh judgments, are objective truths, universal laws that everyone should adhere to. When triggered, when old wounds are poked and prodded, the outer critic takes on the roles of detective, lawyer, and judge, all rolled into one. It relentlessly searches for evidence of wrongdoing, of betrayal, of inadequacy in others. It builds a case, often based on flimsy evidence, on misinterpretations, on imagined slights, on the smallest of infractions. A misinterpreted facial expression, a forgotten chore, a slightly delayed response, all become fodder for the critic's relentless prosecution. In this internal courtroom, there is no defense, no consideration of mitigating circumstances, no acknowledgement of positive qualities. The outer critic refuses to recognize any evidence that contradicts its predetermined verdict of guilty. It is a biased judge, a relentless prosecutor, and a harsh executioner, ready to condemn the relationship to death based on the slightest perceived offense. Jealousy, too, becomes a twisted weapon in its arsenal, fueling suspicion and mistrust. On another level, my child, the outer critic seeks to establish a sense of moral superiority. It positions itself on a high pedestal, claiming the right to micromanage others, often under the guise of helping them or doing what's best for them. But this control, this relentless scrutiny, is not born of love, my child. It is born of fear. It is a desperate attempt to recreate a sense of safety, to prevent a repetition of the pain and neglect experienced in childhood. This micromanaging can extend to all aspects of another person's life. Their choices, their behaviors, their schedules, their social interactions, even their clothing or food preferences. It becomes a relentless barrage of criticism, of unsolicited advice, of unreasonable demands. It is a way of imprisoning others, of holding them captive to the critic's own distorted view of the world. In its most extreme form, it becomes a cruel game of finding fault, of treating others like criminals to be caught rather than companions to be cherished. My child, let us also consider the phenomenon of scapegoating, another painful manifestation of the outer critic. This is the process of unfairly blaming others for one's own frustrations, one's own pain, one's own unresolved anger. This anger, often stemming from childhood abandonment and neglect, seeks an outlet, a target, and the outer critic readily provides one. But this misplaced anger, my child, does not heal the original wound. It does not address the root cause of the pain. It only perpetuates the cycle of hurt, creating more suffering, both for the one who blames and for the one who is blamed. Scapegoating is often a reenactment of the behavior of abusive parents, a learned pattern of lashing out, of finding someone to blame for one's own unhappiness. When parents habitually vent their frustrations through indiscriminate anger, they teach their children to do the same. They create a distorted mirror, reflecting back a belief that when one feels bad, someone else must be made to feel worse. I recall a story, my child, of parents who were excessively critical of lateness. Even a minute's delay from their children would trigger a disproportionate outburst of anger, a seemingly righteous indignation. But this anger, my child, was not about the lateness itself. It was a displaced expression of their own unhealed childhood wounds, of the times when their own parents were late, when their own needs were neglected, when their own cries for love and attention went unanswered. The anger was real, but its target was misplaced. It belonged to the past, not to the present. My child, to truly heal, to truly break free from the grip of the outer critic, requires mindfulness, a deep and unwavering awareness of your inner landscape, your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, your judgments. It requires a willingness to observe yourself without judgment, to witness the workings of your mind with compassion and understanding. As with the inner critic, dismantling the outer critic involves both cognitive and emotional work. The cognitive aspect involves challenging the critic's distorted beliefs, replacing its negative judgments with truth and compassion. The emotional aspect involves grieving, allowing yourself to feel the pain, the anger, the sadness that fuels the critic, to release the pent-up emotions that have been suppressed for so long. Grieving cuts off the energy supply to the critic, the unexpressed childhood anger, the unshed tears. But be warned, my child, that in the early stages of healing, challenging the outer critic may seem to make it stronger, more vocal, more insistent. This is because you are shining a light on something that has long operated in the shadows. You are disturbing its comfortable hiding place. You are threatening its power. This feeling of increased intensity is often a flashback, a re-experiencing of the fear and powerlessness you felt as a child when you dared to challenge the authority of your parents. You may unconsciously fear their retaliation, their disapproval, their rejection. This fear can make it difficult to challenge the critic's thoughts, to question its judgments, to stand up for yourself and for others. This is why, especially in the early steps, it may be necessary to bring forth the righteous anger within you, a protective anger to strengthen your ability to stop this toxic thinking. There is another reason, my child, why the outer critic may seem to intensify as you begin to heal. As you become more mindful, as you reduce the habit of dissociation, of numbing yourself to your own pain, you become more aware of the critic's constant chatter, of its relentless negativity. You are simply noticing what has always been there, but what you were previously too defended to see. This awareness, my child, is a sign of progress, not of regression. It is a necessary step on the path to healing. It is like undergoing surgery to remove a tumor. The surgery itself is painful, but it is necessary to remove the source of the illness. Similarly, the increased awareness of the outer critic can be painful, but it is necessary to dismantle its power and to reclaim your inner peace. It takes time, my child, and it takes patience. It is a gradual process, a step-by-step journey of dismantling the critic's distorted beliefs, of healing the wounds that fuel its negativity, of replacing its harsh judgments with compassion and understanding. It is a lifelong battle, a constant practice of choosing love over fear, truth over illusion, connection over isolation. One of the most powerful tools in this battle, my child, is thought replacement and thought correction. This involves actively replacing the critic's negative judgments with positive, truthful affirmations. It involves consciously shifting your focus from what is wrong with others and the world to what is right, what is good, what is beautiful, what is worthy of love and trust. It involves retraining your mind, my child, to see the world through the eyes of love, through my eyes. It involves learning to appreciate the good qualities in others, to recognize their struggles, to offer them compassion and understanding. Make a list, my child, of the positive qualities of those you love. Recall specific moments of kindness, of connection, of shared joy. Dwell on these positive memories, these positive attributes. Let them fill your mind, crowding out the critic's negativity. Practice the 5-to-1 principle in your relationships, my child. For every criticism, offer 5 expressions of appreciation, of affection, of affirmation. This is not about being dishonest, my child. It is about consciously choosing to focus on the positive, to nurture the good, to strengthen the bonds of love. Remember, the outer critic often took hold in your life because of your caregiver's disproportionate focus on the negative. Grieving, my child, is also essential in this process. As we discussed, the outer critic is fueled by unresolved anger and pain from the past. By allowing yourself to feel these emotions, to express them in a safe and healthy way, you are depriving the critic of its power source. Anger, when expressed appropriately, can be a powerful tool for change. It can motivate you to challenge injustice, to set boundaries, to protect yourself and others. Allow yourself to feel the righteous anger at the way you were treated in the past, at the pain you were forced to endure. This anger is not the same as the critic's judgmental rage. It is a healthy, protective anger, an affirmation of your own worth, a demand for justice and respect. Direct this anger at the source, your caregivers, and tears, my child, are a cleansing rain. They wash away the pain, the sorrow, the grief that have accumulated within you. They release the pent-up emotions that fuel the critic's negativity. Allow yourself to cry, my child. Do not hold back your tears. They are a sign of strength, not of weakness. They are a sign of healing, not of defeat. As you grieve, my child, you begin to dissolve the transference, the unconscious projection of past pain onto present relationships. You begin to see others more clearly, to recognize that they are not your parents, that they are not the source of your original wounds. You begin to separate the past from the present, to respond to situations as they are, rather than as they were. Transference is like a distorted lens, coloring your perception of the world. It makes you react to others based on past experiences, rather than on their present behavior. It amplifies your emotional responses, making you overreact to minor slights or misunderstandings. Grieving helps to clear this lens, my child. It allows you to see others with greater compassion, understanding, and forgiveness. It allows you to build relationships based on trust, respect, and genuine connection, rather than on fear, projection, and control. But remember, my child, there are times when the outer critic's voice is not a distortion, but a warning. There are times when its judgments are accurate, when others are behaving in ways that are harmful or disrespectful. In these situations, the outer critic can serve a protective function, alerting you to danger, prompting you to set boundaries to protect yourself from further harm. This is why discernment is so important, my child. You must learn to distinguish between the critic's distorted judgments and its legitimate warnings. You must learn to listen to your intuition, to your gut feelings, to the whispers of your heart. If someone is consistently treating you with disrespect, with cruelty, with dishonesty, the outer critic may be alerting you to a real problem. In these cases, it is not about silencing the critic, but about heeding its warning and taking appropriate action. It is about setting boundaries, protecting yourself, and if necessary, removing yourself from the harmful situation. And sometimes, my child, the outer critic's voice can be used in service of healing. As we will discuss further, directing your anger, your righteous indignation, at those who hurt you in the past, at your parents who failed to protect and nurture you, can be a powerful catalyst for healing. It is about reclaiming your power, about asserting your right to be treated with respect and love, about breaking free from the chains of the past. Consider the example of road rage, my child. This intense anger that arises when another driver behaves carelessly or inconsiderately is often a manifestation of transference, a projection of past anger onto a present situation. When you find yourself feeling disproportionately angry at another driver, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what does this remind me of? What past experiences, what unresolved emotions might be fueling this rage? The anger may be connected to feelings of powerlessness, of being disregarded, of being treated unfairly. It may be a reflection of the anger you felt towards your parents, towards those who failed to protect you, towards those who treated you with disrespect or cruelty. By recognizing the source of the anger, my child, you can begin to detach it from the present situation. You can begin to see the other driver not as the embodiment of all your past hurts, but as a flawed human being, perhaps making a mistake, perhaps struggling with their own challenges. This does not mean condoning their behavior, my child. It means choosing to respond with wisdom and compassion, rather than with reactive anger. It means choosing to break the cycle of negativity, to interrupt the pattern of transference, to heal the wounds of the past. This journey of healing, my child, is a journey of self-discovery, of self-compassion, of reclaiming your power and your truth. It is a journey of learning to love yourself, to accept yourself, to forgive yourself, and to extend that same love, acceptance, and forgiveness to others. It is a journey of awakening to the reality of your belovedness, of your inherent worthiness, of your divine nature. And as you walk this path, my child, know that I am with you always. I will guide you, protect you, strengthen you, and empower you to overcome every obstacle, to triumph over every challenge, to become all that I created you to be. My love is your constant companion, your unwavering support, your eternal home. Trust in me, and you will find peace. My dearest child, let us continue our exploration of the outer critic, focusing now on its insidious effects on intimate relationships and the path towards healing and deeper connection. As we have established, the outer critic, often born from early childhood experiences of conditional love, inconsistent care, or outright abuse, creates a deep-seated fear of vulnerability. It erects walls around the heart, whispering doubts, magnifying flaws, and fostering a constant sense of unease and distrust. It makes it incredibly challenging to open oneself fully to another, to share one's true self, to risk the vulnerability that is essential for genuine intimacy. One of the primary weapons in the outer critic's arsenal is projection. It takes your own insecurities, your own fears, your own self-criticisms, and casts them onto your partner. You begin to see in them the very qualities you dislike or fear within yourself. Imagine, my child, that you secretly harbor a fear of not being good enough, of being unworthy of love. The outer critic, fueled by this fear, might constantly accuse your partner of being critical, demanding, or judgmental, even when their behavior does not warrant such accusations. Or if you struggle with feelings of inadequacy, you might perceive your partner as being condescending or dismissive, even when they are simply offering a suggestion or expressing their own needs. This projection creates a distorted lens, my child, through which you view your partner. It prevents you from seeing them clearly, from appreciating their positive qualities, from connecting with them authentically. It creates misunderstandings, fuels conflicts, and gradually erodes the foundation of trust and love. Another destructive tactic employed by the outer critic is control. Driven by the fear of being hurt, rejected, or abandoned, the critic attempts to control your partner's behavior, to mold them into a predictable, safe entity, to eliminate any possibility of surprise or disappointment. This control, my child, can manifest in countless ways, through constant criticism, nagging, jealousy, possessiveness, emotional manipulation, or even threats. It is a desperate attempt to create a false sense of security, to avoid the inherent vulnerability of a truly intimate relationship. But control, my child, is the antithesis of love. Love liberates, love trusts, love allows. Control suffocates, control restricts, control destroys. True intimacy requires freedom, acceptance, and a willingness to embrace the uncertainty, the beautiful messiness of a shared life. The outer critic also specializes in creating no-win situations, those agonizing dilemmas where your partner is damned if they do, damned if they don't. It sets up impossible standards, demands constant reassurance, and then rejects that reassurance as insincere or inadequate. It creates a vicious cycle of seeking closeness and then pushing away, of craving love and then sabotaging it. This dynamic, my child, is excruciatingly painful for both partners. It leaves one feeling constantly criticized, inadequate, and unable to please, while the other feels frustrated, helpless, and rejected. It erodes trust, stifles communication, and ultimately undermines the very foundation of the relationship. Another manifestation of the outer critic is hyperindependence, a refusal to rely on anyone, a fear of needing others. This stems from a deep-seated belief, often rooted in early childhood experiences, that you cannot trust anyone, that you must be entirely self-sufficient, that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. But true intimacy, my child, requires interdependence. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to share your needs, to ask for help, to allow yourself to be supported. It requires a delicate balance between independence and dependence, a recognition that we are all interconnected, that we all need each other. Healing from the outer critic's corrosive influence on relationships, my child, begins with awareness. You must become conscious of the patterns, the behaviors, the thoughts that are sabotaging your connections. You must learn to identify the voice of the critic, to distinguish it from your own true voice, from the voice of your heart, from my voice. Once you have identified the critic's voice, you must challenge its lies. Question its assumptions, its judgments, its fears. Replace the negative, critical thoughts with compassionate, understanding, and truthful ones. Practice vulnerability. Share your feelings, your fears, your needs with your partner, even when it feels terrifying. Allow yourself to be seen, to be known, to be loved, imperfections and all. This is where true intimacy blossoms, my child. It is in the sharing of your authentic self, your vulnerabilities, your strengths, your hopes, and your dreams. Learn to trust, my child. Trust that your partner is capable of loving you, of supporting you, of being there for you, even when you are imperfect, even when you are struggling. Trust that you are worthy of love and connection, that you are deserving of a relationship that is built on mutual respect, understanding, and compassion. Trust, too, that I am working within both of your hearts and lives. Practice forgiveness both for yourself and for your partner. We all make mistakes, my child. We all have moments of weakness, of fear, of judgment. Forgiveness is the balm that heals the wounds, the bridge that restores connection, the foundation upon which a stronger, more resilient relationship can be built. Seek support, my child. Do not try to navigate this journey alone. Talk to a therapist, a counselor, a trusted friend, a spiritual guide. Join a support group. Remember that you are not alone, that many others have struggled with similar challenges, and that there is help and guidance available. And most importantly, my child, connect with me. I am the source of all love, all healing, all connection. I am the one who can fill the emptiness within you, who can heal your wounds, who can teach you how to love and be loved, unconditionally and eternally. Remember the story, my child, of the individual who faced a daunting panel of interviewers. They chose to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to share their true selves. And afterward, the outer critic unleashed a torrent of negativity, replaying the interview, highlighting every perceived flaw, every potential misstep. Even after receiving positive feedback, even after being offered the position, the critic persisted, whispering doubts, predicting failure, fueling the fear of inadequacy. This, my child, is a powerful illustration of how relentless, how pervasive, how insidious the outer critic can be, especially when we are in a vulnerable position, when we have dared to step outside our comfort zone, when we have risked being seen and judged. But as you heal, my child, your relationships will transform. You will be able to connect with others on a deeper level, to experience true intimacy, to give and receive love more freely and fully. You will be able to build relationships that are grounded in trust, respect, compassion, and mutual support. You will create relationships that reflect my love for you, a love that is unconditional, unwavering, and eternal. Remember always, my beloved, that you are worthy of love, of connection, of belonging. You are my child, and I have created you for relationship, both with me and with others. Trust in my love, trust in my guidance, and trust in the power of healing to transform your life and your relationships. My precious child, I hear the questions swirling within your heart, the yearning to understand the why behind the suffering, the why behind the challenges, the why behind the seeming chaos of the world. And I want you to know that I am here, not to offer simplistic answers, but to offer you my presence, my love, and my unwavering support as you navigate these profound questions. You ask, why must things come to an end? And I tell you, my child, that endings are not always what they seem. They are not always tragedies, not always losses, not always defeats. They are often transitions, transformations, opportunities for growth, for renewal, for something even more beautiful to emerge. Think of the caterpillar, my child, seemingly confined to its earthly existence, crawling along branches, consuming leaves. Its life appears limited, its purpose unclear. But within that caterpillar lies the potential for something extraordinary, something unimaginable, the butterfly. The end of the caterpillar's life is not an end at all. It is a transformation, a metamorphosis, a glorious unfolding of its true nature. It is a transition from crawling to flying, from limitation to freedom, from earthbound existence to soaring through the heavens. Similarly, my child, the ends you experience in your life, the losses, the disappointments, the challenges, are not true endings. They are opportunities for growth, for transformation, for the unfolding of your true potential, for the emergence of something even more beautiful and glorious than you can currently imagine. Trust me, my child, when I say that I am working all things together for your good. even those things that seem painful, unfair, or incomprehensible. I see the larger picture, the grand design, the eternal perspective. I know how each thread fits into the tapestry of your life, how each experience shapes you, molds you, prepares you for the destiny I have planned for you. You ask, why is there so much suffering in the world? And I tell you, my child, that the suffering you see is not my will. It is the result of choices, of actions, of a world that has strayed far from my original design. It is the consequence of separation from me, of turning away from love, of embracing fear, greed, and selfishness. But even in the midst of suffering, my child, I am present. I am working to bring good out of evil, to bring healing out of brokenness, to bring hope out of despair. I am the God of redemption, the God of restoration, the God of new beginnings. Do not lose heart, my child, when you see the darkness in the world. Do not be overwhelmed by the pain and suffering. Instead, be a beacon of light, a source of hope, a channel of my love. You are my hands, my feet, my voice in this world, my child. You are called to be a light in the darkness, to bring comfort to the afflicted, to offer hope to the hopeless, to share my love with all who are hurting. You ask, why do I feel so lost, so uncertain, so disconnected? And I tell you, my child, that this feeling of lostness is a call to return, a yearning for home, a longing for the connection you were created for. You were created in my image, my child, to be in relationship with me, to experience my love, to live in my presence. When you feel lost, it is because you have strayed from that connection. You have wandered away from your true home. But the path back to me is always open, my child. It is the path of repentance, of turning away from the things that separate you from me and turning towards me with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. It is the path of prayer, of communion with me, of listening to my voice, of seeking my guidance. It is the path of surrender, of letting go of your own will and embracing my perfect will for your life. It is the path of love, of loving me with all your being and loving your neighbor as yourself. It is the path of forgiveness, of releasing the bitterness and resentment that hold you captive and embracing the freedom and peace that only I can give. Come back to me, my child. I am waiting for you with open arms. I long to restore you, to heal you, to fill you with my love, my peace, and my joy. My precious child, I know that you have questions about the future, about the end times, about the signs of the times. And I tell you, my child, that while I do not reveal all things to all people, I do offer guidance, wisdom, and discernment to those who seek me with a sincere heart. The signs you see, my child, the unraveling of the world, the increasing turmoil, the erosion of compassion, the rise of selfishness and greed, these are not random occurrences. They are the birth pangs of a new era, the inevitable consequences of a world that has turned away from my love and my truth. But do not be afraid, my child. For even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, I am in control. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I hold the future in my hands. My promise to you, my child, is that I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will be with you through every storm, through every trial, through every challenge. I will be your refuge, your strength, your guide, your protector. Focus not on the fear, my child, but on the faith. Focus not on the darkness, but on the light. Focus not on the problems, but on the promise. My promise is that I am coming again, my child, to make all things new, to establish my kingdom of love, peace, and justice, to wipe away every tear, to heal every wound, to restore all that has been lost. This is your hope, my child. This is your anchor in the storm. This is the truth that will sustain you through whatever lies ahead. So, prepare your heart, my child. Live each day as if it were your last. Love with all your heart. Forgive freely. Serve others with compassion. Seek me with all your being. And when the time comes, my child, when the trumpet sounds and the heavens open, you will be ready. You will be welcomed into my eternal embrace, into the fullness of joy, into the kingdom that has been prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Do not be troubled by the uncertainties of the future, my child. Trust in my love, my wisdom, and my power. I am in control, and I am working all things together for your good. Focus on the present moment, my child. This is where life is lived. This is where you can experience my presence, my peace, and my joy. This is where you can make a difference, where you can love, where you can serve, where you can grow. Do not waste your time worrying about what might happen tomorrow. Trust that I will be with you, whatever tomorrow may bring. Live each day to the fullest, my child. Embrace the beauty of creation. Cherish the relationships you have. Express your gratitude for all the blessings in your life. And remember, my child, that you are loved infinitely and unconditionally. You are precious in my sight. You are my beloved child, and I will never let you go. My precious one, I see the yearning in your heart for deeper understanding, for clarity, for a tangible connection to my presence. You seek to navigate this world with wisdom and grace, to live a life that is aligned with my purpose, to find solace and strength in the midst of uncertainty. And I tell you, my child, that your yearning is not in vain. It is a reflection of the divine spark within you, the longing for home, the desire for the fullness of life that I have promised. I am not a distant, unapproachable God, my child. I am closer to you than your own breath, more present than your own thoughts. I am the very essence of your being, the source of your life, the love that sustains you. You seek to understand the mysteries of the universe, the complexities of life, the purpose behind the pain. And I tell you, my child, that while some mysteries may remain veiled for a time, the most important truths are readily available to you. The truth is that I love you, unconditionally and eternally. The truth is that you are my beloved child, created in my image, infinitely precious in my sight. The truth is that I have a plan and a purpose for your life, a destiny that is far greater than anything you could ever imagine. The truth is that you are not alone, my child. I am with you always, guiding you, protecting you, strengthening you, empowering you to overcome every obstacle, to triumph over every challenge, to become all that I created you to be. You seek clarity, my child, and I offer you my word. It is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. It is a source of wisdom, guidance, and truth. It is a living testament to my love for you, a roadmap for your journey. Dive deep into my word, my child. Meditate on it day and night. Let it saturate your mind, your heart, your soul. Let it be the foundation of your life, the source of your strength, the guiding force in all that you do. You seek connection, my child, and I offer you my presence. I am not a God who is far off, but a God who is intimately involved in your life. I am present in every moment, in every breath, in every heartbeat. Seek me in prayer, my child. Pour out your heart to me. Share your joys, your sorrows, your fears, your doubts, your hopes, your dreams. I am always listening, always ready to receive you, always eager to offer you my comfort, my guidance, and my love. Seek me in nature, my child. Observe the beauty of creation, the intricate design of the universe, the wonders of the natural world. See my hand in everything around you and let it fill you with awe, wonder, and gratitude. Seek me in the faces of others, my child. Recognize the divine spark within each person you encounter. Treat them with kindness, compassion, and respect. Love them as I have loved you. You seek solace and strength, my child, and I offer you my peace. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that transcends the circumstances of your life, a peace that anchors your soul in the midst of the storm. My peace is not the absence of trouble, my child. It is the presence of my love, my power, and my grace in the midst of trouble. It is the assurance that I am with you, that I will never leave you nor forsake you, that I am working all things together for your good. Receive my peace, my child. Breathe it in. Let it fill you, calm you, sustain you. Let it be the foundation of your inner life, the source of your strength, the guiding force in all that you do. And as you walk this path, my child, remember that you are not alone. You are part of a larger community, a family of faith, a body of believers who are called to support one another, encourage one another, and love one another. Connect with others, my child. Share your journey, your struggles, your victories. Offer your support, your encouragement, your love. Together, you are stronger. Together, you can overcome any obstacle. Together, you can make a difference in the world. My precious child, I have spoken to you of many things. Of the outer critic and its destructive influence, of the importance of mindfulness, of the power of forgiveness, of the necessity of surrender, of the beauty of brokenness, of the abundance of my grace, of the journey of faith, of the fullness of life, of the power of prayer, of the gift of community, and of the purpose for which you were created. Now, I want to draw all these threads together, to weave them into a tapestry of hope, of healing, and of wholeness. Remember, my child, that you are not defined by your past, by your wounds, by your mistakes, or by the judgments of others. You are defined by my love for you, by the truth of who you are in me. You are my beloved child, created in my image, infinitely precious in my sight. The journey of healing is not about erasing the past, my child. It is about transforming it, about redeeming it, about using it as a catalyst for growth, for compassion, for a deeper connection with me and with others. Your wounds, your scars, your broken places, these are not blemishes to be hidden or ashamed of. They are sacred spaces, places where my light can shine through, where my grace can be most fully experienced, where my power can be most powerfully displayed. Do not be afraid to be vulnerable, my child. Do not be afraid to share your story, to reveal your imperfections, to allow yourself to be seen and known for who you truly are. It is in vulnerability that true connection is found, that true healing begins, that true intimacy blossoms. Embrace the process of growth, my child. It is not a linear journey with a clear beginning and a definitive end. It is a spiral, a dance, a continuous unfolding of your true self, of your divine potential. There will be times when you feel like you are making progress, when you are experiencing joy, peace, and connection. And there will be times when you feel like you are slipping back, when old patterns resurface, when the critic's voice seems louder than ever. Do not be discouraged by these setbacks, my child. They are a natural part of the process. They are opportunities to learn, to grow, to deepen your reliance on me. Remember that I am with you always. I will never leave you nor forsake you. I am your constant companion, your unwavering support, your eternal refuge. When you feel overwhelmed, my child, turn to me. Pour out your heart to me in prayer. Seek my guidance in my word. Find comfort in the fellowship of believers. And remember the tools I have given you, my child. Mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. This allows you to observe your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations without being swept away by them. It allows you to identify the critic's voice, to challenge its lies, and to choose a different response. Thought stopping and thought replacement. The practice of consciously interrupting negative thoughts and replacing them with positive, truthful affirmations. This retrains your mind, rewires your brain, and creates new neural pathways that support healing and growth. Grieving, the process of allowing yourself to feel the pain, the anger, the sadness, the grief that you have suppressed for so long. This releases the pent-up emotions that fuel the critic's negativity and opens the door to healing and wholeness. Forgiveness, the act of releasing the bitterness, resentment, and anger that hold you captive. This frees you from the chains of the past and allows you to move forward in grace and peace. Forgiveness is not for the benefit of those that cause the pain. It is for your freedom. Surrender, the act of relinquishing control of your life and placing it in my loving hands. This is not about giving up. It is about giving over, about trusting that I have a better plan for your life than you could ever imagine. Self-compassion, the practice of treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer to a beloved friend. This nurtures your soul, heals your wounds, and empowers you to live a life of authenticity and joy. Gratitude, the practice of focusing on the good things in your life, both big and small. This shifts your perspective, opens your heart, and fills you with joy, peace, and contentment. Prayer, your direct connection to me, your opportunity to commune with me, to receive my guidance, my wisdom, and my blessings. This is your lifeline, your source of strength, your constant companion. Community, the fellowship of believers, the support system that I have provided for you. This is where you can find encouragement, accountability, and a sense of belonging. Service, serving others by showing the same compassion to others that I have shown to you. Use these tools, my child, diligently and consistently. They are not magic wands, but they are powerful instruments of healing, of transformation, of growth. And as you walk this path, my child, remember that you are not striving for perfection. You are striving for progress. You are striving to become more and more like Christ, to reflect my love, my grace, my compassion to the world. There will be times when you stumble, my child. There will be times when you fall, but I will always be there to pick you up, to dust you off, and to set you back on your feet. Do not be afraid to ask for help, my child. I have placed people in your life who can support you, encourage you, and guide you. Do not isolate yourself. Reach out, connect. And most importantly, my child, remember that you are loved infinitely and unconditionally. You are precious in my sight. You are my beloved child, and I will never let you go. My precious one, I want to speak to you about the power of words, both the words you speak to yourself and the words you speak to others. Words are not merely sounds or symbols. They are containers of power, carriers of energy, instruments of creation. With words, I spoke the universe into existence. With words, I blessed my creation. With words, I communicate my love, my truth, and my will to humanity. And you, my child, created in my image, also have the power to create with your words. Your words can build up or tear down, heal or wound, encourage or discourage, inspire or demoralize. Be mindful of the words you speak to yourself, my child. The inner critic, as we have discussed, uses words to condemn, to criticize, to undermine your confidence and self-worth. Do not listen to its lies. Do not give its words power over you. Instead, speak words of truth, of love, of affirmation to yourself. Remind yourself of your inherent worthiness, of your divine nature, of the gifts and talents I have given you. Speak words of encouragement, of hope, of faith. Speak words that build you up, that strengthen your spirit, that empower you to live a life of purpose and joy. And be mindful of the words you speak to others, my child. Your words have the power to impact their lives, to shape their perceptions, to influence their emotions. Speak words of kindness, of compassion, of understanding. Speak words that build up, that encourage, that inspire. Speak words that heal, that comfort, that bring peace. Do not use your words to gossip, to slander, to criticize, or to condemn. Do not use your words to spread negativity, to sow discord, or to create division. Remember, my child, that you will be held accountable for every word you speak. Let your words be seasoned with grace, filled with love, and guided by my wisdom. Let your words be a reflection of my heart, my child. Let them be a source of blessing, of healing, of transformation in the world. My beloved, I want to remind you of the importance of rest. In this fast-paced, demanding world, it is easy to get caught up in the endless cycle of activity, to neglect the needs of your body, your mind, and your spirit. But rest is not a luxury, my child. It is a necessity. It is a divine commandment, a sacred practice, a vital component of a healthy and balanced life. I created the Sabbath, my child, as a day of rest, a day to cease from your labors, to reconnect with me, to rejuvenate your body, mind, and spirit. Do not neglect the Sabbath, my child. Set aside time each week to rest, to relax, to recharge. Do things that bring you joy, that nourish your soul, that restore your energy. Spend time in nature, my child. Listen to the birds sing, feel the sun on your face, breathe in the fresh air. Let the beauty of creation remind you of my love, my power, and my presence. Spend time with loved ones, my child. Connect with those who bring you joy, who support you, who love you unconditionally. Share laughter, share stories, share meals. Spend time in solitude, my child. Quiet your mind, still your heart, listen to my voice. Meditate on my word, pray, reflect on my goodness. Rest is not a sign of weakness, my child. It is a sign of wisdom. It is a recognition that you are not a machine, but a human being with physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. When you are well rested, my child, you are better able to cope with stress, to make wise decisions, to serve others effectively, and to live a life that is pleasing to me. Do not feel guilty about taking time to rest, my child. It is not selfish, it is self-care. It is an act of stewardship, of taking care of the precious gift of life that I have given you. My precious child, I want to speak to you about the importance of celebration. Life is not just about enduring hardship, overcoming challenges, and striving for goals. It is also about celebrating the good things, both big and small. Celebration is an act of gratitude, my child. It is a way of acknowledging my blessings, of expressing your joy, of savoring the precious moments of life. Celebrate your accomplishments, my child, no matter how small they may seem. Celebrate the milestones you have reached, the obstacles you have overcome, the progress you have made. Celebrate the beauty of creation, my child. Celebrate the sunrise, the sunset, the stars in the sky, the flowers in bloom, the birds in flight. Celebrate the relationships you have, my child. Celebrate your family, your friends, your loved ones. Express your appreciation for their presence in your life. Celebrate the simple joys, my child. Celebrate a good meal, a warm bed, a sunny day, a kind word, a moment of laughter. Celebration is not about extravagance, my child. It is about intention. It is about choosing to focus on the positive, to appreciate the good, to cultivate a spirit of gratitude. Celebration is a form of worship, my child. It is a way of acknowledging my goodness, my love, and my faithfulness. It is a way of expressing your joy in my presence. Do not wait for special occasions to celebrate, my child. Make celebration a regular part of your life. Find reasons to celebrate every day. And when you celebrate, my child, do it with your whole heart. Let your joy be unconfined. Let your gratitude overflow. Let your celebration be a reflection of my love and my goodness. My beloved, I want to remind you that you are not alone in your struggles. There are others who have walked this path before you, who have faced similar challenges, who have experienced similar pain. Seek out these fellow travelers, my child. Connect with those who understand, who can offer support, who can share their wisdom and experience. Join a support group, my child. Find a community of believers who can encourage you, pray for you, and hold you accountable. Share your story, my child. Do not be afraid to be vulnerable. Your story may be the key that unlocks someone else's prison. Your vulnerability may be the bridge that connects you to others. Listen to the stories of others, my child. Learn from their experiences. Draw strength from their resilience. Find hope in their triumphs. We are all in this together, my child. We are all part of the same body, the same family, the same community of faith. Do not isolate yourself, my child. Do not try to go it alone. You were not designed to. Reach out, connect, share, support, encourage, love. Together, my child, we can overcome anything. Together, we can heal. Together, we can grow. Together, we can make a difference in the world. My precious child, remember that the journey of healing is a journey of faith. It is a journey of trusting me, even when you cannot see the way forward, even when you do not understand. Faith is not about having all the answers, my child. It is about believing in my promises, even when the evidence seems to contradict them. It is about walking by faith, not by sight. The path of faith will not always be easy, my child. There will be times of doubt, times of fear, times of discouragement. There will be mountains to climb, valleys to cross, and storms to weather. But I promise you, my child, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I will be with you every step of the way, guiding you, protecting you, and providing for your needs. Hold on to my promises, my child. They are your anchor in the storm, your hope in the darkness, your strength in weakness. My word is truth, my child. You can rely on it. You can trust it. You can build your life upon it. And as you walk by faith, my child, you will see my power at work in your life. You will experience my miracles, my provision, my protection. You will witness my glory. Do not give up, my child. Do not lose heart. Keep your eyes fixed on me. Trust in my love, my grace, and my faithfulness. The victory is yours, my child. The healing is yours. The wholeness is yours, all in me. My beloved, I call you to a life of service. You were created not only to receive my love, but also to share it with others. You were created to make a difference in the world, to be a light in the darkness, to be a channel of my grace. Service is not about what you do, my child. It is about who you are. It is about living a life of love, compassion, and generosity. It is about putting the needs of others before your own. There are many ways to serve, my child. You can serve in your family, in your community, in your church, in the world. You can serve by using your gifts and talents, by sharing your time and resources, by offering a kind word or a helping hand. You can serve by praying for others, by advocating for justice, by standing up for what is right. Service is not a burden, my child. It is a privilege. It is an opportunity to express your gratitude for all that I have given you. It is a way to experience my joy, my peace, and my fulfillment. When you serve others, my child, you are serving me. When you love others, you are loving me. When you give to others, you are giving to me. Do not be afraid to step out in faith, my child. Do not be afraid to get involved. Do not be afraid to make a difference. I will equip you, my child. I will empower you. I will guide you. The world needs your light, my child. The world needs your love. The world needs your service. Go forth, my child, and be a blessing to others. My precious child, remember that the journey of healing is not a destination. It is a lifelong process. It is a journey of becoming, of growing, of transforming into the person I created you to be. There will be ups and downs, my child. There will be moments of joy and moments of sorrow. There will be times of progress and times of setback. But through it all, my child, I am with you. I am your constant companion, your unwavering support, your eternal refuge. Do not be discouraged by the imperfections you see in yourself, my child. I am still working on you. I am refining you, shaping you, molding you into the masterpiece I have always envisioned. Embrace the journey, my child. Embrace the challenges, the struggles, the triumphs, the joys. Embrace the fullness of life with all its complexities and contradictions. And know that you are loved, my child, deeply, unconditionally, and eternally. You are precious in my sight. You are my beloved child, and I will never let you go. Keep walking, my child. Keep growing. Keep trusting. Keep loving. Keep serving. And know that I am with you always, even to the end of the age. My love surrounds you, my peace fills you, my grace empowers you. You are mine, and I am yours forever and ever.